Broadcasting from the basement of La Penta, it's WICR.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sports Fall Jersey. Joe Archino back here in the NBA playoffs, of course, in full swing. Two teams advancing, sweeping in their series, of course, the San Antonio Spurs and the Cleveland Cavaliers. But the Cavs are the team to talk about here because something historical and just a little fun fact, LeBron James has now swept his first-round opponents in the past 4 consecutive seasons, 2 years with the Miami Heat and now his first 2 years back with the Cleveland Cavaliers. It all started in 2013 where they swept the Bucks. Then the next season, they sweep the Bobcats, who are now the Hornets. Then in his first year with the Cavaliers, they sweep the Celtics. And then this season, it comes down to sweeping the Detroit Pistons. But unlike in the previous 3 seasons, LeBron James was not the difference maker in the series. Kyrie Irving was unquestionably the difference maker in this series against the Detroit Pistons. You could just see, and I think it all kind of came into fruition last night, that Kyrie was the one that the Cavs were depending upon. They were depending upon him for his aggressiveness. They were depending upon him for his speed, his playmaking. He is truly one of the most versatile players in the game, and as soon as he took his game to the next level on the defensive front, he was going to become everything he ever could be. And before LeBron arrived, he was not a complete player, did not play both ends of the floor. But once LeBron emerged and Cleveland had that very difficult first start, a lot of it was because Kyrie was still trying to play the way that he used to play. And I think LeBron sent the message right away. You want to do things your way? Go ahead, and look what happens. As soon as Kyrie adjusted and became the player we know now, he just showed a different attitude and a different level that he could go to. And for the first time in LeBron's career, I really think that his team's fate doesn't depend on him. It really depends on Kyrie Irving and everything he can do. Again, it doesn't mean that LeBron can't do what we've become so accustomed to seeing him do, but more than ever, I think LeBron is taking a little bit of a step back in allowing Kyrie Irving to be the aggressor, to use his explosiveness, to do what we saw him do in that Pistons game last night. Remember, closing out in the final minutes, final seconds of that game. It's a tight one. It's a 1-point game. Kyrie Irving, fearless, with being very well defended, hits the three-pointer. He was hitting his shots all night. His confidence in just one of the knocks on him when LeBron was going to join the Cavs was people were trying to use statistics, metrics, things to say that Kyrie wasn't a great three-point shooter. He really wasn't great, but all that stuff kind of goes out the window. You got to look with your eyes, and when you look at Kyrie Irving, the speed that he plays with just allows him to get the edge on almost anyone he plays against, and that speed allows him to get a little bit of extra time to set up his shots, and as he's become a much more consistent shooter, I think the speed hasn't been needed as much, but he still always has that, which always gives him that edge over anyone else. And I know his ball handling is something that everyone always recognizes him as one of the best in the league at doing, but for the first time ever, Kyrie is the most important piece and the most important player on a Cavaliers team. Kevin Love is going to give what he gives. LeBron is always going to be there controlling the game, and when it ever does get into that point, he will be there. But now, I think you saw, and I've never seen LeBron be like he did. He was really resorting to Kyrie Irving. He was letting Kyrie run the show, and that's what the Cavaliers need to do. Kyrie is a guy where there were some reports when the turmoil was happening with Cleveland that Stephen A. Smith reported something that he would prefer to play elsewhere. He wants to be the guy, and I believe that firmly because Kyrie has that ability where he wants to be the guy. He has the role where he has that envision for himself, and now the Cavaliers are kind of allowing that to happen. And the Cavs really aren't going to struggle at all getting through the Eastern Conference. They sweep Detroit. The next series is either going to be against Atlanta or Boston. Right now, the two of them are just beating each other up. Boston takes their 2 games at home. That series is split 2 apiece, and really, that game's going to go back and forth. Atlanta has the superior talent, but that really is not a major difference maker in this series. Boston is such a smart team who has young players and is coached as well as anyone in this league, and they make it such a difficult battle back and forth. Both teams are going to be beating each other up while Cleveland gets some rest, and I think for Cleveland right now, that's all they want because they've got the pieces intact. And last year, we kind of know that the playoff run for them was marked by injury. Kyrie Irving was never healthy. Kevin Love was out early, and then LeBron basically had to do everything by himself. But this season now, everyone is intact. The core is good to go, and I think now with Kyrie kind of having that identity, knowing he is the reason Cleveland will win the title if they do so. It all comes down to him. He is the key more so now than ever, but then again, there's the historical implications. LeBron James, 11-0 in the first round, has never lost in the first round in NBA history. And again, I think that's easy to just look at that number, but then when you look at it from a historical standpoint, you've got to look at when LeBron came into the league, taking over a franchise that had really never done anything of significance in a long, long time, and taking players that you just can't even remember to this day, elevating them just by his pure skill alone. It's something that when you look at that number, it makes it mean even more because even the great players, some of the other great players in NBA history, they had some good players and they still weren't able to get out of that first round gate. But LeBron James, what he was able to do constantly, putting the teams on his back, being able to do things that just other players cannot do. I think that 11-0 just means even more when you look at the teams that he has played on. But of course, it becomes even more impressive when you look at the last 4 consecutive seasons where his teams swept their first round opponents. And if you go the year before that, the Knicks stole game 3, but it could have very easily been 5 consecutive seasons. But I think now, based on everything we've seen in the NBA playoffs, historical, whatever it is, it's clearer now more than ever that LeBron James is not the most important cog and not the most important piece to his team. He still is fundamental to the cause. He still is every meaningful position in basket is going to be needed from him. But I think now more than ever, Kyrie Irving will be the reason Cleveland wins the title if they do. And he is the most important piece. He's got to have that same aggressiveness, that same speed, that same intensity, and just the same swagger about him. It's one of those things where the confidence that he exudes is just uncontainable, and it's something that we see with the top guards in this league a lot of times, but that's what you want to see from your guys. They own the role, they own the spotlight, and that's something Kyrie does very well. And when you can bring a team-first mentality with that, which Kyrie Irving does because he gets everyone integrated, and he truly affects the game on every level. On the defensive end, getting people involved, elevating people. It's a position that LeBron really never has had a player like a Kyrie Irving. You can compare Dwayne Wade and Kyrie Irving, but they really, too, are inherently different based on their positions. Kyrie is definitely more of the quarterback of the Cavaliers now, and he's doing everything for that team to put them in the right position. And I've never been more impressed with a player of playing with LeBron, elevating everyone else around him. Outside of Dwayne Wade, there's no question that Kyrie has given LeBron something he has experienced very rarely during his career. But until then, Jersey, Joe Archino here with the Sports Vault. You can follow me on Twitter at Joe Archino and on Instagram, Jersey_Joe_Archino. And I'll see everybody next time.